Have you ever wondered why some people seem blessed from birth, while others carry invisible burdens? Some glide through life with ease, while others stumble again and again. Some are loved effortlessly, while others are constantly misunderstood. Many say, "This is fate." But the Buddha said, "No, it is not fate. It is a deeper law of cause and effect, quietly weaving the patterns of our lives. It is called Kamma, the law of action. In Pali, Kamma means action. It is not something predestined, but the sum of our intentions, words and deeds. Every thought, every word, every act plants a seed within the mind. These seeds may not sprout immediately, but they never vanish. When the right conditions arise, they bloom and bear fruit, sometimes in this life, sometimes in another. Seeds of goodness blossom into happiness. Seeds of harm ripen into suffering. When we act with kindness or compassion, we leave a bright imprint within our hearts. When driven by anger, jealousy, or greed, we plant darker seeds within the same soil. Kamma does not punish or reward externally. It simply lets us live within the world we ourselves have created. Buddha said, "Kammasaka bhikkhave sata, kammadayada, kammayoni, kammabandhu, kammapatisarana, yam kammam karonti, kalyanam vapapakam va, tassa dayada bhavanti." Beings are the owners of their actions, heirs to their deeds, born from their kamma, related through kamma, and supported by kamma. Whatever actions they do, for good or for ill, they are its inheritors. We are not slaves to destiny. We are the weavers of our own lives. Wholesome actions lead us toward light, unwholesome ones toward shadow. It all begins with the choices we make. Kamma is not an ancient superstition. It is alive, every day in modern life. When we post a cruel comment online, when we turn away in indifference, Kamma is already taking form. And when we lend a hand or stay gentle in moments of anger, that too is Kamma, radiating quietly from the heart. Kamma is not judgment, nor reward. It is the natural echo of life itself. When we understand this, we begin to walk with awareness, for destiny is not fixed. It is being created, moment by moment, by us. Buddha once said, "All things arise from causes and conditions, and action, karma, begins from intention." Kamma isn't just what we do, it's what our mind decides before we act. The moment a thought arises, a seed is planted. In a misty village along the Ganges Valley, a man named Kunda, a hunter by trade, walked into the dense forest at dawn. For him, killing was not cruelty, it was survival. Each arrow that pierced flesh meant food. Each drop of blood meant another day alive. His arrows flew with deadly precision. Every vibration of the bowstring brought down a living creature. He skinned, drained, and butchered with the ease of breathing. People respected him, but kept their distance. They whispered, "There's a shadow around that hunter." One scorching afternoon, Kunda heard a rustle in the thickets. Thinking it was a deer, he drew his bow and released the arrow. But when he approached the fallen figure, his breath froze. It wasn't an animal. It was a wandering ascetic. The arrow had pierced the monk's chest. The dying man looked at him, not with anger, but compassion. The ascetic whispered, "Hunter, your arrow has struck not just my body, but your own destiny. From that day, Kunda's dreams burned with fire and beasts. He saw himself hunted, torn, devoured. The forest that once fed him became a place of dread. Years later, sickness consumed him. On his final night, he opened his eyes wide and screamed, "Don't chase me! Don't bite me!" He struggled, waving his arms at unseen beasts. Then, a final cry, and silence. When villagers reported the hunter's death, the Buddha said calmly, "The foolish, taking life as their trade, are followed by their deeds, as shadow follows form." He added, "It is not the wrath of gods, nor the curse of others, but one's own mind that ripens into destiny, just as a seed bears its fruit. Today, we no longer hunt with bows, but the spirit of the hunter still lives. Some harm with lies, others with greed. Their arrows are not of steel, but of intention, and those arrows, in time, return to the one who loosed them." The Buddha taught in the Mahakamma Vibhanga Sutta, "Some do evil and suffer, some do evil and prosper. Some do good and find joy, some do good and suffer. Yet beyond all appearances, the law of Kamma never falters. It records every thought, every intention, silently, perfectly." Buddha taught, "It is not the act itself that is good or evil. It is the intention behind it. A person may give generously, but if the heart is greedy or seeking praise, the fruit of that act becomes tainted. Another may speak harshly out of compassion to save someone from harm, and that, in truth, is wholesome. Sometimes we think, if no one saw what I did, it's gone." But the Buddha said, Kamma never disappears. It only waits quietly until the right conditions arise. Buddha once gave this simile: just as the wheel follows the hoof of the ox, so do actions follow the doer. This is the flow of Kamma. Action brings result. Result becomes a new cause. There is no God punishing, no force rewarding, only the natural rhythm of cause and effect. In the city's deep night, someone is still working in the office. His name is Li Ming, a finance director at a major corporation. To others, he's diligent, reliable, a trusted professional. But behind that calm face lies a secret no one knows. One day, he found an unclaimed sum in the company's account. After a long pause, he typed a few numbers, transferring it quietly to his own. Just a little, he thought. No one will ever notice. Then he did it again, and again. In that moment, the seed of unwholesome Kamma was planted in his heart. Outwardly, he was still the upright manager, smiling, leading meetings, calm and confident. But late at night, standing before the mirror, his eyes began to show a trace of unease. He believed everything was perfectly hidden. Until a year later, when the company hired a new auditor, the young man, checking the ledgers carefully, noticed irregularities. Strange. Where did this money go? Every coincidence became a condition. The seeds he once planted now bore fruit. Evidence clear, records matched, dates aligned. Li Ming opened his mouth but said nothing. In that silence, he understood. No evil deed remains buried forever. He was sentenced, lost his career, and every shred of trust. Yet the real punishment wasn't from the court. It was the endless remorse he could never escape. The Buddha said in the Anguttara Nikaya, "Beings are the heirs of their Kamma, born from their karma, bound by their karma. Even if no one sees a wrong deed, karma does not vanish. It waits in silence until the fruit ripens and reveals itself. Every thought, every act returns someday, as light or as flame. Buddha said, "It is not the same person, nor another, who is reborn. Just like waves and the ocean, each wave is different, yet none is apart from the sea. When the force of Kamma gathers, a new life begins. Not the rebirth of the old self, but the continuation of energy, the current of consciousness flowing onward." Buddha also said, "Life is like one flame lighting another. The fire continues, but it is not the same flame. Past actions ignite this life. This life's actions ignite the next. What continues is not the person, but the energy of Kamma." In the modern world, our Kamma is more subtle. A lie shared online spreads like wildfire. Cruel comment wounds a heart you'll never meet. A moment of greed can change the path of a lifetime. The world we live in today is the collective fruit of our shared Kamma. Every act, every word, is shaping the world of tomorrow. Kamma is not fate. It's a mirror, reflecting the truth that every thought is creating the future. We cannot undo the fruits of the past, but we can plant new causes right now. When the heart transforms, the world transforms with it. When life reaches its end, the functions of the body gradually cease. The breath grows faint, and the pulse can hardly be felt. Yet on the level of consciousness, everything has not yet ended. The final moment of mind, called kuticita in Pali, the moment of dying consciousness, is still active. In that instant, it is like the last lamp of life, illuminating the karma of the past and determining the direction of the next existence. At that moment, past deeds arise to the surface. Some see their loved ones smiling and welcoming them. Others are terrified by the faces or scenes of those they once harmed. The Buddha said that these visions are not illusions, but manifestations of karma, kamma nimitta. They are like a mirror, reflecting the doer's virtue and fear. If the mind is calm, kind, and clear, it will move toward a luminous destination. But if it is entangled in fear and attachment, it will sink into deeper darkness. In the time of the Buddha, many disciples lived simple lives of purity. They sought neither fame nor wealth, and even in the face of death, they wished only for mindfulness and faith to guide their final breath. Bhikkhuni Upalavati lived a life of strict virtue, cultivating loving kindness day and night. When illness struck in her old age, she refused to let pain disturb her mind. Her disciples urged her to rest. She smiled and said, "The body may decay, but the mind must not. If the mind is calm, suffering becomes light." As her final moment approached, a gentle fragrance filled the monastery. The sky brightened with golden light, as if dawn had come early. Her disciples looked up in awe. A radiant celestial chariot descended from the clouds, its music serene, its light touching every leaf. She placed her palms together and whispered, "I am ready." With her last breath, peace spread across her face. The Buddha later said, "She has been reborn in the celestial realm." That chariot was not an illusion, but the natural manifestation of her wholesome karma. Many think that good deeds bring good results is merely moral comfort. But in the Buddha's teaching, Kamma is a law of nature. A pure heart is the greatest offering. When faith and wisdom unite, even death becomes only another dawn. In the time of the Buddha, there lived a butcher who made his living killing pigs, but his method was unlike any other. He believed that only when a pig died in unbearable pain would the meat taste better. He beat the pig until its blood clotted beneath the skin. Then he poured boiling water down its throat, making the animal writhe in agony. Others called him cruel, but he only laughed and said, "That's what makes the meat tender." Years passed. He remained strong, his heart untouched by guilt. Until one night, he dreamt of countless pigs rushing toward him, their cries echoing like thunder, their blood flooding his feet. From that night onward, sleep never came again. From that night on, it was as if his whole body burned with unseen fire. He screamed and twisted in agony, howling like the pigs he had once tortured. When people tried to hold him down, he shouted, "Help me! The fire! It's burning me! They're here, the pigs, all of them!" For 7 long days he writhed as if consumed by the flames of hell. On the 7th morning, he let out one final scream, his eyes frozen in terror. A monk later told the villagers he had fallen into hell, bound by the very cruelty he had created. The Buddha said, "All actions are born of intention. When the mind is filled with cruelty, suffering will surely follow. Evil karma does not vanish. It merely waits for the right conditions to ripen. Karma is not punishment. It is a mirror. It reflects the true nature of our own intentions. When we plant seeds of cruelty, we harvest suffering. But when we plant compassion, light will surely follow. Evil karma never disappears. It only waits for its time to ripen." In the ancient scriptures, many visions of the dying are recorded. Some, in their final breath, see celestial chariots of light approaching from afar, and hear gentle music echoing through the air. They smile in peace, as if setting out on a journey toward bliss. Yet others, at the edge of death, feel burning flames upon their bodies, or see the darkness of an abyss opening wide. Some call out to the dead, some cry in fear. In that moment, their minds are drawn by the very karma they have created. In those fleeting moments, karma unfolds its invisible power. It is neither merely punishment nor simply reward. Rather, it is the echo of intention, the consequences of actions reverberating within the stream of mind. When the seeds of good or evil ripen, the stream of consciousness, patisandhi citta, the rebirth consciousness, follows those conditions, moving toward a next mode of existence that brings its corresponding circumstances and experiences. And in modern medical records, countless near-death experiences are documented. Those who leave their bodies pass through gates of light or hear celestial music. They all seem to whisper the same truth. Death is not the end. At that border where light meets darkness, every joy and sorrow, every good and evil deed becomes the force that carries us forward. In the next episode, we will explore that sacred instant, from death to rebirth.